DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I'm the Russo of this occasion, Paul. The Felice is over there.
Mr. Russo.
Nick Felice. Nick, how are you?
Inside joke, but
Very inside.
yeah, I'm doing good, Paul. Another Wednesday edition. Love to see that. 5 weeks in a row, I think it's been now Wednesday. So last episode of February. And the weather's looking good this week. No, I mean, maybe not so much this weekend, but I think things are looking up.
Okay. What?
I think things are looking up
Yeah.
weather-wise.
You threw me for a loop just the way you kind of dismounted from.
Well, it's not gonna be great this weekend. It's gonna be cold.
Saturday's going to be all right.
What's Sunday?
Let's not
A lot
talk
of people
about
forget
that.
about Sunday.
We don't have to talk about that. What we are talking about, though, we got more hockey. We are now a hockey podcast, officially. But we got a little baseball, a little football, and then movie review time, which we haven't done in a while. So all that and more. But first, thank a couple more of our sponsors, including Auburn Auto Group. Comes selection and service after sale. Auburn Auto Group has been the premier destination for new and used car buyers for close to 40 years. One of the brands offered at their Route 5 location in Auburn includes Chevrolet, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Honda, Toyota, and Subaru. Thanks to their wide selection of makes and models, you're sure to find your new or used car at Auburn Auto Group. And the Cuba Lake Wine Trail, from your first sip to your last look out on the lake, Cuba Lake Wine Trail will impress and inspire you. America's first wine trail. You truly choose your own path when you visit the winery. Soak in the scenery and make memorable moments with friends. You can plan your trip at CugaWineTrail.com. They also got Bacon on the Laken coming up, Nick. You like bacon?
Yeah.
Make sure you purchase your ticket. March 22nd, 23rd. Bacon on the Laken. Looking forward to that. So,
Yes, the Devils are going to win the championship.
what? Oh, no. Well, the guy is kind of a devil, depending upon who you ask. But hockey's running quite the high right now. Moving off the Four Nations. Still got the momentum riding high. And Alexander Ovechkin, for better or worse, depending on, like I said, the way you view it, one of the faces of the league for the past 15-plus years, on the precipice of history. 12 goals away from Wayne Gretzky's all-time record of 895 career goals. And we'll talk more about it as we get there, but it's really starting to ramp up now, and I kind of wanted to start here with it. I think for us, we'd be talking about no matter what, because we just kind of enjoy hockey enough that it does matter. But for the general public, to kind of, the way I saw it, especially after he got to 883 yesterday, would we be talking about the way we were if not for the Four Nations? In all honesty, if not for this momentum that hockey has coming off the past couple of weeks?
I disagree.
Okay.
We've been talking about this for a while now.
No, I know.
This goal tracker, it's just getting closer now as it gets closer every goal. But you're somewhat right, because they are building off momentum of the Four Nations. Mm-hmm. For once in a very long time, it's not the first time, but it's been a long time, hockey was center stage of the sports world for 2 weeks there, and they really shined. They didn't disappoint one bit during that whole Four Nations face-off tournament, and now we're on the cusp of history here with the goal record. He'll never catch the point record, but he'll catch the goal one here. Might be this season. I think it will be this season.
Too many games left, I think.
Yeah, he'll get it this season, especially the way he's been on a tear. Had the hat trick last week. And so, yeah, what does this mean? I mean, this is like LeBron James catching Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the point total record. This is like when Barry Bonds asterisk caught Hank Aaron in the home run record. It's like it's pretty similar to those, and it could have been like Saquon Barkley, but that's more of a single season record.
Oh boy,
Saquon Barkley trying to catch who's it, Eric Dickerson?
Yeah,
single rushing record. That's a single season, so I'm not going to compare it. But it's kind of like that. It's a record chaser that, for a while people thought his goal record and assist record were safe for a while there.
Yeah.
But Ovechkin just continues to play well, and the Capitals are playing well this year, and they're really building off of that success. And this is definitely something to take notice. This is something we're going to see our first ever 900 goal scorer in NHL history.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting the layers portion of it because I've never I guess I'll start here. Like when I first started really liking hockey back in the day was pretty much the same time that Ovechkin and Crosby both obviously were drafted and broke into the league. Kind of come off lockout and everything and stuff like that. Never have been really a fan of either in that sense. It's interesting. I was trying to think of a good comp to another sport to make people maybe understand what Ovechkin kind of is. I don't think he's quite to the level of like maybe narcissist or psychopath in the sense that I'm about to say, but like the only name that kind of came up to me was like Kobe Bryant, if I'm being totally honest. Dude who really, really into his craft.
Got that one?
The only reason why I don't say maybe as far along as like I said, maybe the psychopath path is Kobe. Never. I don't want to get political in this sense, obviously, because Ovechkin with ties to Putin and being Russian and everything. But like, in the sense of like, you never have heard teammates really talk about like Ovechkin in like a really bad light. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or anything too crazy like that. The way Kobe was, obviously. But I that's the only comp I can kind of really get close to right now with him. Only because, like I said, just like how prominent he is within the sport and stuff like that.
Maybe Drew Brees?
No. Drew Brees is too nice. You know what I mean? Too kind of a soul.
Yeah.
Brees would probably be a good like.
Ben Roethlisberger?
Closer. Probably closer to the Kobe one than actually.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, maybe actually that's a better one.
Yeah.
Well, I was just trying to think of like where I could like really kind of pound a point home where probably it's going overboard a little bit, but like yeah, Rodgers is actually probably a pretty good comp in all honesty for that. It's a good one. But yeah, Drew Brees is probably closer to like the Sidney Crosby one.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, but you brought up a good point. $895 for everything considered. I don't know if I necessarily viewed it as unattainable, but like you have to be playing for like the way Ovechkin has, obviously, and for him, frankly, and I guess to a degree Crosby too, in this sense. They effectively have missed 2 whole years, not of their own doing. And it's just one of those things where it's like, he's going to get by it. I don't know how much longer his NHL career is going to go. I mean, I think he plays in NHL for sure still next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's under contract technically for next year. I think after that, he's probably going back to the KHL, going home to the motherland for him.
So you're not seeing one.
I think it's interesting. You talk about unattainable numbers. I think once he gets this record, I don't know if anybody gets to 900. Because, like, in all fairness, right, for him, like, once he gets to what will be 896 and breaks it, like, 900's just, to me, it's a given. Well, obviously, things can change, unfortunately, and everything like that, but, like...
Not 1K. You don't see it.
I don't see 1K. I mean, unless he just keeps going in the NHL for another few years, but I don't view 1K being there. But it's interesting because I do view him getting to 900 as like that unbreakable plateau. Like it's not a knock, but like think about it like this, right? Does McDavid break the record? Do you? Do you think McDavid could break it?
I'm looking up how many career goals he has. right now.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of players. I mean, it was probably one point where you thought maybe Stamkos could catch him, but
No, but correct. But I mean, Stamkos is only like 4 or 5 years younger than
he's
him.
got 357 right now, McDavid.
But do you realize how long McDavid's been in the league for already? That's the kicker.
Yeah, but when do you think he's ever going to leave?
It's fair.
I think he'll have a shot. We'll see what time comes. Injuries could play a factor.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. McDavid's already had his history of injuries. I think Draisaitl probably got going a little bit too late in the timeline to get there.
Yager didn't play enough years.
He's still, well, Yager's still technically, I don't think, retired. I could be wrong, but
He'll never retire. It's kind of like Marshawn Lynch.
no, he officially signed his papers, I thought, though. Didn't he not?
Yeah, I think he did. But
I don't. Look, way too early. I don't think Bedard's looking like that guy. I don't think like a guy like Matthews gets there. You know what I mean?
well, Jack Hughes.
I guess he could. That guy,
A lot better than Kako.
So, but now you bring up a good point, because now I'm thinking, like, where does McKinnon kind of get in on this? But, like, I don't know. Again, though, I just don't think any of those guys can get there.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's
like,
tough.
both those guys have dealt with some injuries.
Where's
already,
Crosby?
too.
What's he at?
7, I think, he's 7-something. I know that.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You have to be playing a long time like Ovechkin has.
I mean, they've been playing for 20 years. I mean,
It's not an easy feat.
no.
I mean, you can say it whatever you want about, like, the NBA. I mean, LeBron's still playing, but let's just look at Kareem's record.
All right.
Is there anybody that can catch him?
I mean, LeBron's really the only one right now, anyway.
I mean, like some of these up-and-comers.
I think it kind of depends on the Kareem front. I mean,
6'10", yeah.
I thought he was up to 7. Wow. Yeah, no.
I thought, was he just too many injuries, Crosby?
Maybe. But, like, even then.
That's crazy.
Crosby also had probably more help than Ovechkin's had, in all fairness. I mean, there were some years where it was Ovechkin was carrying that Capitals team, to be fair. Now, he's
Crosby had the better.
he's had guys along the way, don't get me wrong. Like, Tom Wilson, to be fair, as much as I loathe him, right? Wilson,
Nick Backstrom.
Kuznetsov. I mean, he's had guys, you know.
TJ Oshie.
But not as often as
Yeah,
Sid. I mean, Sid's had Malkin this whole time.
they've had some
you know.
good teams, too.
Yeah, he's had Malkin pretty much the whole time and stuff like that. So,
Letang.
yeah. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I dispute as I think 900's a borderline unattainable mark, unbreakable mark.
When you get to a statistic like goals, which is the number one thing to do in that sport, it's like scoring runs in baseball and scoring baskets in basketball. The whole point of the sport is to score goals. When you see someone set the record for your league, it's a pretty big deal.
By the way, speaking of basketball, I would say Jokic, but I feel like he just will like get bored and retire. So
Yeah, there's a bunch of factors you could throw in there.
yeah. So all right, let's transition over here. Let's start on the MLB side because it's spring training.
You look like you're at the beach right now with that palm tree behind you.
It's true. Our festive fake ferns. Okay. Rosters for the most part in this sense, and obviously they aren't set. But for all intents and purposes, right, they're set.
1 or 2 spots, maybe.
Yeah. But within the past week, the Nolan Arenado stuff kicks up again. And it seems like the Astros were the ones who are going to try and do it, but he's not going to waive his no trade. And baseball's always weird to me because of, like, no trade clauses. Because, like, clearly, like, Nolan doesn't want to be in St. Louis anymore. And I know why he doesn't want to go to Houston. I get it. It's still, there's a lot of stuff still stemming from, like, 2017 and stuff like that. And I get it. I just don't know if I wanted out of a situation bad enough just for a year. I feel like I'd just bite the bullet and go to like Houston, but like that's just me.
How many more years he has a lot of years on his contract, doesn't he?
I thought he had an opt out at the end of this year. I could be wrong, but either way. My point being, does Nolan Arenado start the year in St. Louis Cardinal red?
The way it's looking like it, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to be happy about it, but he's going to go out there and give his 100%. That's the type of player he is. And I think eventually he'll get traded. I don't think he'll be there after the deadline. And
I think it'd be kind of crazy if he was.
yeah, he's going to be gone before August. But as of right now, it looks like, I mean, they haven't found a suitor. I mean, the Astros would have been a great fit, but he doesn't want to go there. So, and he's kind of in control right now with that no trade clause. And this is already a St. Louis team that lost Goldschmidt through free agency.
Well, but in their own whatever, but yeah.
And I've also heard rumors that they are not going to sell out the home opener for the first time ever in that franchise's history.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because as much as I hate that team, it's probably, I'm going to go out on a limb, it's the greatest baseball fan base in the sport. As much as that kills me to say, I think there's not a better fan in baseball than a St. Louis Cardinal fan. They're loyal. They expect to win, and they love their Cardinals. It's St. Louis is by far a baseball town.
Yeah.
And they are just not used to losing. You know, it's like a Yankee fan if they started having losing seasons, something that hasn't happened in 30 years. Cardinals are, they're not as dominant as the Yankees are when it comes to that, but they're not used to losing. And
yeah,
right now, I think I know this isn't our prediction show, but I'm thinking them maybe in the basement this year. That's how.
Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you're all that far off from
lot of
what
people
I'm
kind
of
of
thinking anyway. The Central's going to be weird this year. I know it's not prediction time, but like. I know it's the sexy pick right now, but
we
like,
love predictions.
I know it's the sexy pick right now, but it's like it's hard for me not to like pick the Reds in all honesty.
That is an interest. That's not.
But everybody's picking them right now.
Everyone's picking the Cubs.
Not from what I've been seeing.
I've been seeing some things about the Cubs. People are not on the Brewers again.
They're pitching, sure, but like I don't know about the lineup.
Well, they got Tucker. That was a big ad.
Tucker and Saya.
I mean, they got some.
You're banking on a couple guys who have left you high and dry.
Warner's a good player.
You've been banking on
Happ's a good player.
You've been banking on guys who have left you high and dry the past couple of years. Is all I'm saying. If you're the Cubs, that's all I'm saying.
Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, the Brewers again. Everybody's sleeping on them. So I mean, either way. But back to the fact of the matter. Yeah, It's crazy to me that a team, and I mean, you mentioned like the Yankees. In all honesty, but like it's crazy to me that like I guess he said no to going there, which brings up another discussion.
The Yankees.
Yeah.
Really? Where does he want to go?
Well, that's the part I've been trying to figure out. Is I think he did want to go to Boston, but then they bring in Bregman, and I mean, if you're Boston, I think you'd have to entertain trading Devers then, which.
Yeah, you're talking about like.
I'm being honest with you. The way he's been talking, I wouldn't mind probably trading him anyway.
You're talking about an interesting situation with the Cardinals and Arenado.
Yeah.
The situation, what's going on in Boston, is
a
lot worse.
That's been a weird relationship now for a couple of years, and that's after he signed that deal.
And you kind of got to be on the Red Sox side, right? Devers is an awful fielder.
I see. This kind of goes back a little bit to the labor thing last year with the Yankees at the deadline. I see both sides, but like, I don't know. Devers is better than Torres, so like to me, it's like one of those things where like the Yankees should have just put their foot down and been like, "No, you're playing."
Oh, without a question.
But like, if you're Devers though, you're kind of tanking your value if you just say, "Yeah, you're right." Like, and that's for me where I understand his side, but like, I mean, if the people don't know at this point, like the regular people for the podcast with us, how me and you operate. Like, yeah, this situation, I'm team first here. Like,
nobody wants to become a DH, and
well, I disagree with you. After I didn't want to be a DH either until I experienced it, and I was like, this might be the greatest thing ever.
But Devers doesn't want to become a DH.
Fair.
And
That's fair.
and it's not like he's their best hitter.
Yeah.
It's not like he's coming out of the lineup.
Right.
He has to realize
Ooh, wait.
he can't play third anymore.
Is he their best hitter?
Yeah, he's better than Duran.
Well, that's not even who I was going with.
You were going with Trevor Story.
No.
You were going with Tristas Casas.
Oh, Casas.
Nah, it's
I'm a big Casas guy. I've seen him. I saw him a couple times at AAA and AA, actually, for that matter. Like, once he gets consistent at bats this year, because last year he got dinged up with injuries. And, like, maybe I'm giving away a little bit of fantasy strategy here to you. But, like,
No. Marcel Meyer's going to be their best hitter someday.
You want to know who actually, at least in Boston, I know we're off topic a little bit here, but you want to know who in Boston was actually gotten screwed by this is Yoshi.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me how they brought him in, and now they've made him just expendable for the fact of, like, they just have nowhere to allegedly put him.
Yeah, and so is Quinn Priester. He's been getting screwed there, too.
Whatever.
But Devers,
Whatever.
if you want the best team to win a game, you got to put Bregman at third base.
Yeah.
Put Devers at DH. They're both going to hit, but Devers clearly doesn't want to. It's an interesting situation there. You know how it's like, because this happened first week pitchers and catchers report, or first squad workouts, whatever. You know, everyone's just like happy to be back playing, throwing the ball around. And you got this drama in Boston. When Boston has had, you could argue, the best offseason, other than the Dodgers, the best offseason this,
Really?
They've had a great offseason. They bringing in Garrett Crochet is a huge pickup to the team. Bringing in Bregman, which
They only made two moves early.
They signed Chapman. Roldis Chapman. That was good help for the bullpen.
You're banking out a lot on the Chapman front. It's all fun and games until he hangs a slider.
Trying to think what else they did, but those are the three that
That's-
come to mind. And those are three good moves. I love the Crochet move.
No.
Get him off a pitch limit, and
So let's get back to the main Arenado thing here before we go over to football because it involves your Giants a little bit. What team does make the most sense for Arenado?
I haven't really given it much thought. I'm trying to think. Well, obviously, the Yankees could use a third baseman.
I'd say the Yankees probably top that list in terms of just like actual like outright need. Can I interest you in a couple? Just little nuggets, if you will, here. Seattle.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
Now you're second guessing that a little bit, though.
No, I'm trying to think. I agree with Seattle.
Okay.
Cleveland?
No, they got their guy.
I mean,
If you're going win now, if in the hypothetical here, think Detroit would give up anything?
well, they wanted Bregman bad.
True. Why? I mean, that one's an obvious reason, though.
Yeah.
Hinge.
Yeah, Hinch.
Yeah.
Clearly, and they were a little disappointed by that.
Yeah.
But they're going to move on, and I mean, Yankees, I think, is definitely
Probably number one.
If they got, imagine if they had Arenado and Goldschmidt on the team.
True.
I think that would definitely help the team. I think this guy can still play. I don't know if Arenado is the player he was 3 years ago.
No, I don't think so at this point.
He's still an elite defender.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, actually, to be fair though, the numbers say otherwise.
Yeah, I know. I get the whole. I've gone through it with McCutcheon. Now I'm going through it with Reynolds. Apparently, I don't agree. I know who's a good fielder and who's a good fielder, and Arenado's still a great fielder, and I know he still could be your number 3 best player on your team,
True.
and he would be the number 3 best hitter on the team for the Yankees if they got him. You're trying to figure out who number 2 is, aren't you?
Judge is number 1.
Number 2 would be obviously Didi. Still there?
I'd go Bellinger.
Yeah.
I'm a Bellinger kind of like apologist.
I like that move with Bellinger.
So.
Also, did you see Didi at the practice the other day?
I'm also a big Jazz guy, but yeah. Yes, I did. Photography. Sir Didi. He's royalty. All right. Let's get to the football stuff here. I don't know if we've really have ever had. Now it's interesting because now in the past couple of years, the scouting combine has kind of taken off as like this
Yeah, it jumped out of nowhere. I didn't know it was
kind of like this springboard, if you will, to kind of get the offseason going in a way. It's always been there. It's just like the past couple of years, it's kind of really taken this like prominent role, if you will. We've seen stuff from like the tush push being discussed, but now a lot of discussions involving trades. Mainly, I guess the main one here has been involving Matt Stafford.
Well, Cup still needs to get traded.
Well, I guess maybe it's more of the Rams.
Package deal?
I was about to say maybe it's more the Rams than anything else, right? Who, like I get it, they're trying to get younger, but I view them as still having that window kind of like at least quasi-opened. I mean, you made the playoffs this year. Like,
I just don't feel like they think they can go any farther.
Right. And anyway, fact of the matter is they're looking to move people. One of those guys is Matt Stafford potentially here. Now, it's interesting. I wanted to talk more about this from the Giants angle, but before we kind of got going here, I look at my phone and I see that Tom Brady apparently met with Matt Stafford in regards to potentially a union with the Raiders going on here. But we'll start with your Giants, Nick. I know for you,
we still don't have a quarterback.
Correct. There are pieces already within that team on offense. And I don't know, obviously to me, bringing a guy like Matt Stafford, it's going to elevate those pieces, right? No matter what. Damn, it's a lot of fire trucks right now.
Those fire trucks in Geneva when I was going. Anyway,
there's a lot of talk around the Giants right now because and you brought this up off air, and I'll let you have a fully cooking minute with it here in a second, but do they move off? Do they use that third pick as a trade piece? There's even the teams in front of them are kind of taking calls on the trade on those picks, which one, people called me crazy when I said in the fall that's going to happen because this draft class is a bit wonky. But two, because they need a quarterback. What option do you go with here? Do you go that, if you don't go Stafford and you don't go with one of these young guys necessarily, or you do go with a young guy, do you bring in a guy like, I hate phrasing like this for him, and I don't see this necessarily happening only because of him, or do you bring in a guy like, I guess essentially like Kirk Cousins at this point where it's like you have a year to mentor and then you're out, like what's the move here for them? But I guess the main piece is Matt Stafford, Giants. If this does happen, does it make you feel any better, worse? Like what?
Well, I've always been a Stafford fan.
That's true. You actually have been.
Yes, I have. But I hope they don't do this. Because to acquire Stafford, they're probably going to have to give up the number 3 pick, which I do not want. I say you draft at number 3, try to get Travis Hunter at 3, and you draft Kyle McCord later. Because I am not a scout, but I know that Kyle McCord is a better quarterback than Shadur Sanders. It's not even close. And do not draft Shadur. Let him go to the Jets and let them ruin that franchise for a couple more years.
Cleveland, you mean?
Yeah, it'd be a great fit for him as well. Cam Ward, the jury's still out on him. I'm not a fan of either one of these quarterbacks. I think we missed out because last year's quarterback class was the best. It's been the best in a long time. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we haven't even seen J.J. McCarthy yet.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good class. So we missed out. What are we going to do? But can't cry about it. We got to move on. You take Hunter, who's the best player available. Well, Abdul Carter, I think, is the best. And then I'll take Hunter.
So does he.
Yeah. But I would take Hunter to 3. And then draft a quarterback later. And then bring in, I didn't know Kirk Cousins you're just throwing his name out there. I was going to say like a Gardner Minshew type player.
Well, the only reason why I said Kirk is just because I mean, I guess maybe Minshew also fits that bill, to be fair. But I'm thinking more in the sense of like, not knock on Gardner Minshew, but actual guy who's kind of been through it all at this point, frankly.
But I agree with that route.
Yeah.
I don't agree taking one of those two quarterbacks with that route.
I just don't.
I take a quarterback later.
If you're going in the first round, I think you gotta go Cam Ward or hope that Cam Ward is there for you. I know I'm a hater and I don't believe because of the Shador stuff. I don't see it. And I respect what you're saying about Kyle McCord. I think there's a lot of people banking on him being available later on, which he will be, but to do a lot of things that I don't know if he's necessarily going to be capable of right away, should the opportunity be there for him in the NFL.
I like that Dart kid too.
Yeah, I'm a big Dart guy as well. So we'll see.
It's crazy to me that the Dart guy and McCord are down the list, and then Shador.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, and I'm not even like a big Quinn Ewers guy, but like I'd probably take Ewers over Shador personally.
Who's ranking the Sanders guy this high?
I think a lot. I don't know.
I don't get it. Someone tell me where they see it.
Okay. Comparably speaking, I know this is apples to oranges to a degree here, but comparably speaking, Shador is better than Bronny in their respective whatever. But it feels a lot like what we were doing with Bronny.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah. Shador was a starting quarterback.
Right. No, I'm just saying though, it feels that way even though like Shador is better than Bronny. Well,
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe he's a backup in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think especially with what you got coming in with him,
it would be something. Oh, you said the Browns, I said the Jets. It would be something. That's who gets them.
For either one of those two. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. Again, I just don't understand the Rams' logic here. Unless they fully view this as like,
I think they're trying to build something new, rebuild.
And look, don't get me wrong, I get it, but like I just view it as like you clearly still have stuff there. I get if you maybe want to move on from Cooper Kupp, just because like especially on that end with the injuries and the age and position. But like, I mean, man, you were essentially 2 plays away from getting to the NFC Championship game this year. I mean,
I get it, but they clearly don't think it was that close.
No, and look, I get it. Like, I'm not immune from recognizing like when teams do or anything like that. I mean, I know it's to a lesser or bigger degree to this end, but like, look at the Heat. Like, I'm dealing with it with the Heat right now, where it's like what they have to pivot from what they initially had planned very clearly.
They're not that far from making a run.
I think for me, it's just the way also, too, the Rams have just kind of been constructed over the course of the past, for better or worse, 10 years. We'll just call it as 10 years. Only because, they bring in McVay. They kind of get this deal kind of ramped up slowly but surely here. And the way he talked even to, like, McVay was planning on, like, once, like, this deal was done, like, with Stafford and everything, like, he was done. And look, people can change. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not the case, but like, something just seems more aloof than just them wanting to reset. To me, anyway. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm thinking like maybe McVay wants another challenge. Start new.
I guess
or fresh.
I guess. I mean, it's possible, but
and it was a great run. Yeah. They won the one Super Bowl. Spent a lot of money to get that Super Bowl, and they bounced back. The cap really hit them for a few years there. They were pretty bad, but they've come back, and I say a few years. It's only been a few years since they won it, but they come back and they put together a good team this year, and they got a great wide receiver, number 1, Puka Nacua, in my opinion. Yeah, he's great in that number 2 spot, but I don't know. I think it's definitely a tough time to be a Rams fan because the players you are. Especially these newer Rams fans, the ones they've idolized, is Stafford and Kupp, and there's a good chance they're both not going to be on the Rams next year.
I mean, the disrespect to George Pickens, but
yeah, it's true.
All right, before we get out of here, let's do a quick movie review. Captain America, Brave New World. We'll do a soft spoiler alert warning of 5 seconds here, only because it's been out for a couple weeks, and I don't know how many more people are really going to be lining up at the door to see it at this point. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
You've been warned.
You and Matt were much more favorable to it than me.
Yeah, I never heard your.
This is the first movie in a few that we've seen together, or maybe even separately, where the further I've gotten away from it, the more it still has regressed, as opposed to progressed in my mind. I think my biggest issue with it coming out of it, and this part doesn't really give away too much, so I'll say it outright like this. The climax of the movie was only like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant. Apparently there was a lot of stuff cut from the final floor of this of the movie. And that's why I said the way I did to you guys in the theaters on Saturday, where it's like, yeah, I can see why they cut it, and they could probably have cut more, if I'm being totally honest. And I know compared to like you and Matt, like I said, like I know I'm alone on that island, and I'm okay with being alone on that island. That said, I still view it as like at least a decent enough film that I don't feel like I like wasted money seeing it in that sense. Like
We went to vacation.
yeah, well, yeah. I was
It
gonna
can't
say,
get any worse.
there's a couple of them for me where it's like I went there.
It can't get any worse, you know.
World of Warcraft. I mean, for me personally, The Purge, but I'm really alone on that island. Yeah, I'll go over to you now for your broader thoughts on this before we get any deeper, maybe a little bit here. But I still view it as a 6 out of 10 for me. Certainly not the worst movie I've ever seen, but certainly by no means the best I've ever seen.
No, it's not the worst movie ever, and it's not the best. It's not the worst Marvel movie ever, and it's not the best.
Yeah.
It's just you get the expectations when you go into a Marvel movie that it's gonna be great. Oh, this is just gonna be like another Endgame or another Spider-Man No Way Home, and it wasn't. You know, it was Anthony Mackie's first full movie where he's the main star in the Captain America series, and I think what hurt me a little bit is I didn't see the Hulk movies. Maybe there were some references in there.
Well, I mean, there were.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with Bruce and Betty, you know.
And then the big thing was the trailer's all about the Red Hulk.
Right.
And Red Hulk
and that's
only at the end of the movie.
That's what I mean by the climax being literally only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it was like a hair longer. Like,
and it's just like,
let's not get twisted. It wasn't actually just 2 minutes, but it felt like it was just like you build up this 2-hour movie, and literally only like 1% of the movie is the climax.
Yeah, and it's like the one scene where he's fighting the Red Hulk at the end, and he's trying to calm him down. He's bringing up his daughter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be working. A couple punches later, it works.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but it was just kind of a little boring at times.
Yeah.
And it's just
even by what I would call the recent Marvel films coming off of Endgame, it had a lot of drag moments where
it was funny though. I thought it was funny. I liked the character.
Really.
It wasn't like hilarious. Not like Deadpool.
This was like the first Marvel movie in a while I didn't really laugh a ton at, though. No, but what I mean by that, though, no. What I mean by that, though, is like Spider-Man No Way Home is a good example. Like, there were moments where I laughed.
Yeah. Like
the scene where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man comes into the living room and Zendaya's throwing bread rolls at him because it's like, you know.
It's not the funniest movie in the world, but there was a couple parts, you know.
There weren't like a ton of it where, like, you know what I mean? Where like even like Doctor Strange, there were moments, there were pockets where you could, you know.
Yeah, and when you really think about it, it's not that funny. But I liked his buddy there, the new Falcon. I liked him.
Oh yeah, Millennia, yeah, Yoquan.
Yeah.
I think my biggest issue with the movie too, well, maybe not biggest, but it's a concern. We already had some doubts about this upcoming Fantastic Four movie. And to me, they just kind of get amplified now. Which is unfair to that portion. That's just unfair to that portion of the franchise.
Yes.
In all honesty.
They haven't been good
really
since
is.
like the 80s.
Correct.
Every movie they throw those sucks.
And to be fair, it does have me worried about Thunderbolts to a degree. Although I think that one's going to do fine because it's its own separate. That one literally is its own separate deal hanging off on the side. It's a lot like the Deadpool.
Good to see Bucky though.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot to be desired with this movie, and do I think it necessarily deserves the 44% Rotten Tomatoes score? No, but do I think it deserves all that much higher? Probably not.
The bad guy was not that great.
And you can make the case he's not even really a bad. Like, he is the antagonist, right? Like he is the antagonist. Let's not get twisted. I don't know if he's necessarily a bad guy in the traditional sense of do I think it's like Thanos? No. Do I think it's like Deadpool? No. But I think it's somewhere within the middle ground of, not necessarily evil, but not necessarily Peter Pan kind of, you know what I mean? Like the way Deadpool kind of operates.
Also, the end credit scene could have just been another scene in the movie.
That's the other part of it too. It's but that's another thing with this too. It's like they always, one of the main things about the Marvel movies that people don't know at this point, are the credit scenes, right? Most movies guaranteed one. A lot of them building into Endgame, but not so much after Endgame had a couple. This one literally, it was essentially the same one we've gotten now in the past, give or take, 5 Marvel ones where it's like, well, you better be careful what's coming. Yeah, no kidding. We've known that literally anyway since Endgame.
Yeah.
Quite literally. Even before Endgame, technically, we knew that was coming. I just, you can tell that they miss Gunn. You can tell that they miss having the Russo brothers full time. You can kind of tell, I don't think it's a ship without a captain, but you can tell there's some adrift going on. And that does have me concerned with what kind of what happens now post Thunderbolts, post Fantastic Four here, at least this calendar year anyway.
Yeah.
I think those are it for the calendar year on Marvel's end, I think, right? Unless
I think it's just the 3 of them.
Yeah, so.
And last year all we had was Deadpool Wolverine, so.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I forgot technically Doctor Strange was pushing into 24 but was 23.
Yeah. But apparently there's going to be, this Doomsday movies coming out next year, so.
But again, they've been teasing, that goes back to the credit scene though. They've been teasing this now for pretty much post Endgame. To call it what it is, pretty much post Endgame.
Yeah, and
which in all honesty, by the time that comes out, will be 6 years old at that point.
I'm expecting some there better be some good end credit scenes for these next 2 movies because
I don't see it.
We're getting to a big movie where a lot of these characters are going to be coming together again. So, an Avengers type movie. So,
well, I was going to say I think, to be fair, and it's a good thing you bring that up before we kind of wrap this up because I did forget. To be fair, I think there is the setup for the Avengers within this movie. I mean, it literally outright says it, but at least now we have the official setup of it. Like I said, albeit in your face, really, frankly, only for 2 seconds. But, the fact of the matter is, Ross tells, Captain America that, he wants the Avengers to be reassembled, redeveloped.
Yep, that's right.
And while he does backtrack on it, the table is at least set for it. So I guess, to be fair to you, right? I mean, we do have some sort of plan in action, I guess, as we would call it. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just with only having the one movie last year, we were expecting more, and it was nice to see, Anthony Mackie's character get a big movie like that. But, just a lot of disappointed Marvel fans, but they're going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
We're going to keep moving on. This isn't the first, subpar movie that they've had.
And I'm sorry. I did like Serpent's character. But, like, I could not get Gustavo out of my head. And that one is if you know, you know type thing. But, like, if you know Breaking Bad in that universe at all, you know what I mean. Like, that,
It's tough.
I'm just, like, looking at the whole time the way he was playing the character. I'm like, so he's just doing Gustavo in leather. Like, you know.
That happens sometimes, especially when you're known for one character.
Right. Which isn't fair to him. I'm just saying the way he played it, and maybe it's the way it was written. I'm like, he's just doing Gustavo in leather. Like, what are we doing?
Well, it's like watching Daniel Radcliffe in something else. It's Harry Potter.
Well, to be fair, I knew he was playing Weird Al Yankovic in the Weird Al Yankovic biopic, but
I haven't seen that movie, but
it's funny. Yeah, either way, we're off topic. To be fair, we're at the end of the podcast. So, I'll put it to you this way. The plan for next week is still normal as planned. Here's the main issue with that. If you know about what obviously we both do outside of this podcast for our work, might not be able necessarily to be the case, just given the fact of time constraints with the way sectional basketball is.
what time are the games?
They're at night, but like if, for example, like if we got for sure a doubleheader guaranteed, for example, next Wednesday, at least on my end.
That's right, they're neutral locations.
I got a
That's
vamoose, so.
That's right, neutral.
The plan is we'll be here next week at some time. Plan for next Wednesday at usual time. If not, we'll, figure it out as we go. So either way, Nick, who are you shouting out today?
His birthday's technically next Wednesday, but I'll shout him out now. Justin Kiefer.
Oh.
Fan of the podcast, been on the podcast many years ago.
Many.
Yeah, shout out Justin. His birthday is next Wednesday. He will be 29 years old.
How about it?
And his LVC, Lebanon Valley College, he's the assistant lacrosse coach there. And
Are they the Minutemen? What are they?
they
Patriots? Quakers? There's something revolutionary.
Yeah, I can't find it right now, but they are hosting Albright College on tonight. Tonight's the game. I was thinking of Saturday. It's tonight's game. So best of luck. Currently 0-2. Hoping to get a big win tonight in Annville, PA. Shout out Justin and happy birthday. And who is also, ironically, a Washington Capitals fan. Big Ovechkin guy. So
They're the Flying Dutchman, by the way.
Flying Dutchman. Yeah, so shout out Flying Dutchman and shout out Justin. Get the dub tonight.
Yeah, go eat a W for your birthday next week. So, yeah, Nick, appreciate you. We'll be seeing you anyway down the road here, outside and inside of the studio. So, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody, and we'll talk again.
Thank you, Mr. Russo.
Goodbye, everybody.